Hello everyone, this is your head coach for Smash Ultimate, Kuya Kyle, and today we will go over quality aerials. We'll go over what that is, talk about some aspects of aerials, and much, much more. You're doing aerials wrong. Do this instead. This will be an insightful guide on how to professionally perform aerials in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Most players get trapped in the habit of jumping and mashing, so let's get to the bottom of fixing bad habits and reaching quality aerials. We're going to talk about the different types of aerials, the differences between full hopping and short hopping. Then we'll talk about the short hop macro. Most beginners should learn this. We'll talk about aerial drift. We'll talk about the differences between a rising and a falling aerial and repeatable aerials. If you're joining us for our live Discord class, you can ask questions at the end of today's presentation. But if you're here on YouTube, hello YouTube, you can comment your questions down below and I'll be happy to respond as soon as possible. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so the first thing we want to go over is the types of aerials you can do. There are 5 main aerials and sometimes 6. The 5 types of aerials that you have is your neutral air or your nair, your forward air or your fair, up air. We just kind of call that up air. I don't know if anyone says you air. So just up air is fine. Down air, which is dare, and back air, which is bear. They're all performed by jumping and putting your control stick in that direction, besides neutral air, where you don't put any direction, and you do an attack in that general area. So if you do an up air, you're doing some type of attack that's upwards. If you do a down air, it's some type of downwards attack, and so on. Certain characters do have a 6 aerial called a Zair, usually if they have a tether-like grab. So right here, this is Young Link's Zair with his grappling hook. Other characters that have Zairs are Zero Suit Samus with her whip, regular Samus and Dark Samus. Lucas has his snake. Is there anyone else? I feel like... Who else has one? Or is that everyone? There's Toon Link. I know Toon Link has a Zair. I'll try to look up some later. Maybe I'm forgetting something. First, let's talk about full hop aerials. Big hops, big attacks. Full hop aerials are generally used for the following: anti-airing, so if someone's jumping a lot, you could meet them with a full hop aerial to, match their height, but also rise with an aerial, so you're already coming in with a hitbox. Continuing combos, so let's say you knock someone up in the air, you have to do a full hop version of your aerial, like a full hop up air to catch them for your combo. Being evasive while having a hitbox, so you could do full hop aerials as a way to kind of poke away pressure and try to say hey, I need some space, so you're doing some retreating full hop aerials for yourself. And you might be doing a full hop aerial if it's auto cancelable from a full hop. So sometimes if you have an aerial that's fast enough, you could do a full hop version of it, and when you land with normal landing lag. But if you try to land with an aerial, there's a little bit more lag when you land with it. So there are certain aerials that you do want to do full hop aerials with, just because they are auto cancelable, and you would find that information online for which character you play as. Next up, we have short hop aerials. Short hop aerials are used for similar reasons than full hop aerials, such as anti-airing, continuing combos, retreating, but you are much closer to the ground, making your aerial pressure game a lot faster. Short hops are harder to react to because there's less time of you being in the air, so you can really speed up the tempo with short hop aerials and kind of overwhelm your opponents. There is one small nerf to short hop aerials compared to full hop aerials, where short hop aerials do have a 0.85 multiplier damage or damage multiplier, which makes them do slightly less damage and knockback, which you would think is not that good for you, but it might help with certain combos. In the video here, we have an example of Pikachu T-Jolt in the short hop raw back air, into another back air, into a spike, into an edge guard, into another spike. So that is one of the many applications that you use short hop aerials for. Now let's talk about the short hop macro. Um, a lot of beginner players have a hard time implementing short hops into their gameplay just because it is a bit of a sensitive input because you just have to tap it. However, if you want to get a bit more acclimated to short hop aerials, what you can do is if you press jump and A at the same time, you will do a buffered short hop aerial. This is great for those uncomfortable inputting short hops when learning. And you could perform this short hop macro out of a shield or out of shield, which makes short hop aerials out of shield a lot more consistent. So let's say Lucario comes in to hit Yoshi's shield here. You press jump and A at the same time to get an instant buffered short hop nair to punish the Lucario. So practice this in training mode if you're learning the game, and it just makes the game a lot more simple, which I like a lot. Now let's talk about aerial drift. You have to be aware of your surroundings, like where your platforms are and where your opponent is. You can still kind of drift in the air while performing an aerial, and certain characters have a lot higher airspeeds than others. So if you are one of those characters that have a pretty good airspeed, you can combine both the movement of your character with the aerial placements to kind of optimize your approach. So you either do like a retreating aerial for safer neutral, or you try to drift in with aerials and approach and possibly cross up opponents. So let's say if we're this Kirby here, right? We could do a retreating fair, like we are doing our kicks towards the Rob, but we're moving backwards to kind of make a safer gap for us. Or if we wanted more aggressive, we would drift in with the fair and maybe land behind him or just kind of catch him off guard by almost overshooting our approach here. Okay, let's talk about rising versus falling aerials. Rising aerials, as the name implies, is performed as you rise. The pro about this one is that your aerial comes out really fast because you're doing it right when you jump off the ground. But the con here is that you're stuck in that kind of aerial animation until it finishes, which is a lot easier to whiff punish. Or not Rosalina's, Palatena's Nair is a great rising aerial because it can combo off the top and it has that whole spinning animation, and you kind of combine rising Nairs into its own combo. Um, but if you were to do this rising Nair and then your opponent is kind of far enough to see that they whiffed it, you might get punished. So that's one example of rising aerial. Now let's compare that to a falling aerial, which, as the name implies, is performed as you fall. These are great for combo starters and safer pressure. Just because you're landing closer to the ground, there's less time for your opponent to actually punish you if you whiff or they shield it, because you are minimizing that window of vulnerability because you're landing so close to the ground. The one con here, though, is that if you are waiting for a falling aerial, you could get stuffed out during the beginning of your approach. Like you could get anti-aired from full hop into a falling aerial or like a short hop to a falling aerial. So just be a little bit mindful of which type of aerial are you using, and you really need to think about what type of aerial does your combo need for you to succeed. So if I want to do nair combos, I'm thinking, okay, I have to land a rising nair, or if I want to poke at my opponent, I want to do a falling back air as Palutena. It all depends on what your current game plan is or what's happening during the match, but just make sure that you're able to distinguish the two while you're playing. And lastly, we have repeatable aerials. Some characters have aerials that can be performed multiple times from either a full hop or a short hop, and this is basically considered actionable before landing aerials. Some of them are really good, where like you do an aerial and then you take another action like jumping or air dodging. Some examples of this is Donkey Kong. He could do a rising back air into a falling back air out of a short hop, like we see here. Mario can do multiple up airs in a full hop and a short hop, and Roy can do a full hop fair into a falling fair. Or I'm pretty sure you do like a lot of up airs too as Roy. So study your character a little bit and see if you have any repeatable aerials in your kit, just because this knowledge can help you deliver consistent pressure or makes up how many aerials you'll use to stay unpredictable. So let's say, for example, for this Donkey Kong, we teach the opponent like, hey, I could do 2 back airs from a short hop, maybe 3 from a full hop, and you have to guess how many back airs I'm going to go for this approach. Maybe I'll just do 1 rising back air and then go for like a tomahawk grab, or I'll do 2 to just catch you off guard for not holding shield long enough. Um, that's one very simple example, but it's really helpful just so that you're aware of what options you do have if you have these really quick aerials at your disposal. And that is all for today. So let's do a really quick recap. Oh my gosh. Sorry, by the way, I'm a little stuffy. So you're doing aerials wrong, and I need you to do this instead. This will be an insightful guide on how to professionally perform aerials in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. There are 5 types of aerials. You have neutral air, forward air, up air, back air, down air, and sometimes zair. Full hop aerials are mostly used for anti-airing, continuing combos, being evasive, or if it is possible to be auto-cancelable from a full hop. Short hops are the same deal, but they do have a 0.85 damage multiplier, making them do slightly less damage in knockback. If you need help doing short hop aerials, you could press jump and A at the same time, and you'll always do a buffered rising short hop aerial. You can still drift in the air while performing an aerial, and certain characters have higher air speeds than others, so use this to optimize your aerials. Distinguish the difference between a rising aerial and a falling aerial, and know which ones you need for your combo or your game plan. And lastly, some characters have aerials that can be performed multiple times from either a full hop or a short hop. For example, Donkey Kong can do a rising back air into a falling back air. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you had a great time learning, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye bye.